Hi, my name's Ken Crooks. I'm with New England Lab, and we're going through Fume Hood user and maintenance training today. All right. So first off, obviously you want to turn the light on when you're going to use it. It's just a simple switch here. There's no automatic detection or turn on of the light. When you raise the sash, please do it mindfully, not too fast, not too slow. There is a sash stop at the top. Try not to jam it up against that. For loading or unloading large pieces of equipment, that sash stop can be moved out of the way, and then you can raise it the full 31 inches. So you have a maximum opening here. This is not for use with active chemicals, right? Active experimentation. This is only for setup and tear down of an experiment. Once you're done with the setup, lower it at least to the sash stop or lower. The lower it is, the more energy you'll save with the VAV system, and also the safer you'll be as a researcher using this hood. But raise it to the height you need so you can do what you need to do inside the hood. For user practices, best practices are to move slowly, not a lot of fast movement. Move your arms parallel to the air going in the hood and out of the hood. If you turn them this way, you can actually pull out contaminants. You don't want to do that. You don't want to breathe that in. Anything rather large you need to put in the hood, elevate it a couple inches off the work surface. That'll allow airflow to sweep underneath it and clear out any heavier than air gases. Always work 6 inches or deeper inside the hood, but at the same time, don't stick your head in the hood. Never, ever stick your head in the hood. Just so you know, everybody in the background's laughing right now. When you're done, close up whatever containers you're using, return them to the storage cabinets underneath. If you're done for the day, you've got your solvent flammable cabinet on the left here and your acid corrosive cabinet on the right. Put them away as tightly sealed as possible. The acid cabinet is vented into the fume hood, so you won't get any fumes there, but the solvent cabinet is not. So you want a good housekeeping, put everything away tightly sealed and as dry as possible. Make sure to shut them. As required by code, that does have an automatic door closer. If you need to leave the solvent cabinet door open for large loading and unloading, there is a fusible link here that you hook onto this hinge. It's a little off camera, I apologize. And once that's done, that door will stay open. Please remember to close it at the end. If you didn't, in the event of a fire, that fusible link will melt and the door will automatically close anyhow. Same thing on the acid, keep your door closed. Close your sash when you're done and all chemicals are removed. And please also turn off the LED light when you're done. Those are your basic user good practices for fume hood and your personal safety. The largest, or most important, I should say, thing is to keep this barrier between your breathing zone and the hazards inside the hood. It's really, really important to not go beyond the certified height, which is indicated here on this certification sticker at the blue arrow. That value and less are your safe zone. And again, raise it only for setup and tear down. If there is an alarm, it'll sound something like this. I'm triggering an override. If you hear an alarm like that, stop what you're doing, close the sash, and get maintenance personnel to help you out, whoever's in charge of that. You can mute an alarm if you feel confident doing so and you know the alarm condition maybe isn't exactly a hazard to you, but I would recommend just leaving it be and go get help. That alarm, I believe, will resound after 5-10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take this out of emergency mode. Always important to look at the alarm and just make sure you're getting the green, maybe hard to see at an angle, not sure. You want the green normal screen. It will tell you the face velocity or the speed that the air is moving inside the opening. And that will change as you raise and lower. I can hear the air increase, decrease. That's perfectly fine. As long as it stays green and it doesn't alarm, safe to use the hood. But if it does alarm at any point that you're using the hood, stop what you're doing, close that sash, and go get assistance. And that's that. All right, so that's the user behavior. Just want to make sure I got everything I talked about. Okay, and then we can go into maintenance if we want to. All right. So fume hood, from a maintenance perspective, a ducted fume hood like this, there's really not a lot going on the fume hood structure itself. It's steel, it's FRP liner. You've got a chain and sprocket sash counterweight system on the back. That doesn't require any maintenance, unlike the cable and pulleys, which are a little bit cheaper, but you gotta work on those occasionally. But if there is something jammed, like if the sash just becomes a little difficult to move, this one's beautiful, right? But if it ever did become difficult to move, 6 or 8 foot ladder, open that access panel up there, and on either side you'll see the chain and the sprockets going out to the counterweight. Maybe they need to be lubricated. Maybe they got dusty. Maybe something fell down in there, like insulation or something. Is it binding up? You can see just about anything on job sites, I think, as we all know. So I would investigate that first. Sometimes the counterweight actually comes down and hits something, but that would show up immediately, and that's not happening. So that's not happening. I don't see that ever developing over time. They should clean the hood occasionally, and I don't know who's really going to be responsible for that, but it's hazardous in there, so don't go just sticking your head in there to do some maintenance. Soapy water is generally the recommended practice for cleaning the inside of a fume hood, sort of decontaminating it, if you will. Nothing biological should be used in these hoods, and they know that. There's chemical fume hoods, and then there's biological safety cabinets, which we don't have here. Biological safety cabinets, decontaminating that's a whole other deal, and you don't want to get into those. But with a chemical fume hood, it's chemical fumes, vapors, and particulates, if they're boiling acids, that you might be nervous about in here as a hazard. Consider everything on the inside of the hood is contaminated. So if you need to touch something, put gloves on. That's really most important. You don't need respirator, face protection, but you definitely want to have gloves on. If you're going to touch anything that hasn't been cleaned, again, with hot soapy water is your best bet. There's no maintenance or moving or adjusting required of the baffles. Those are fixed in place. The 3 baffles in the back, lower, middle, and the angled upper one, those should stay right where they are. If some of the service valves need to be serviced, you can do that. You have this side port on either side inside. That can come off. You peel that off. I will tell you straight up, it is not the easiest thing to put back in place. There's a whole procedure of rolling the gasket and forcing it in and getting it closed. I continue to struggle at doing it. I don't do it that often, but there are instructions on the back of it. Take a photograph first so you have that to refer to as you're forcing this thing in here and probably saying bad words. But that's a way to get in there also to the back. The side panels can be removed if needed. I don't think you ever will need to, but just in case if you did, you've got full access. The shelving's not right up against the side panel. That's good. And obviously this side over here is wide open. Nothing needs to be done with the cabinets. You've got all the information from the manufacturer, Mott Manufacturing up in Canada. Maybe grease a hinge if it needs to be. I don't expect that to happen really. And then there's electrical and the light. It is an LED fixture. You're not going to be replacing fluorescent bulbs over time. That's not going to happen. And again, though, if you did need to change the light, you can get that through that access port up top. So get your smallest guy and send them up there. Little 4-foot hoods. Awesome. That's really it. Are there any questions?
Any filters in here?
So these are not ductless hoods. There's no filtration in there. No. No. Good question. Thank you.
And you could mention the cord under the cutout.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's actually back to user practices. Oh, shoot. Thanks, Tony. If, and I think you will be, using anything that's electrically powered, you need to plug into the outlets, the GFCI outlets here. Don't drape the cord over the airfoil and then lower the sash on it. That actually hurts. So don't do that. That's what we've got the cutouts here for. So you put your, whatever it is, your hot plate in here, snake the cord down through, and then plug it in there. That's the best user practice. Because, again, you don't want a cord stuck between metal and metal. This is going to come up and down thousands of times over its life. Technically, if you came over here, you'd be okay too, but it's best to come underneath the airfoil and plug it in. It also means it's less of a hazard as you're taking something in and out of the hood, less of a hazard of snagging that cord and maybe knocking over what's in your hands. Good point. Thank you, Tony. All right. Nothing else?
No.
We're done.